The kitchen sink. Get ready for a conversation from the world of high school, college, and pro football. Plus, some chat about the rest. All this, along with some fun, humor along the way. Coffee or beer. Join us. Football and the kitchen sink. Here are your hosts, Coach Schuman and Coach Depascale.
Can you believe that intro right there, Coach?
Sounds official.
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. We're on our way. Now, once I know how to learn to use the controls, we'll really be in business.
We're making moves.
We're making moves, huh? We got our own intro. How about that?
Look at you. We're looking total, and look at the attire. Total opposites today. You must have had something important.
I had to go to someone's unfortunate event. So, yeah. I look sharp. It's, I got to make sure I talk close into the mic again because I just like the way it sounds. Not, a little slow day, but there are some really good things. Obviously, the Heisman today. We could start the chat off there right away. Who are your Heisman picks and in what order?
Well, you invite what? 4? There's usually 4. Is it usually 4, or do they have a number, or is it just a matter
5.
of?
Usually, I think 5.
They usually take 5.
Lighting's pretty bad today here. Usually take 5. So, I mean, who do you have? Who do you have winning it? I think we probably have the same guy winning it, but
run down the list. Give me the names,
I think,
or give our viewers the names so that they have a clue.
All right.
I mean, I could pull it up as well.
Yeah, I got it here. Okay. Heisman candidates. You got Jones, Lawrence, Smith, Trask, and
I think there's only 4.
I think you're right. So Devontae Jones, right? Trevor Lawrence. Devontae Jones, Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Devontae Smith, Kyle Trask. So
you got three QBs and a wideout.
Those are your big 4. I'll go right off the top here that I think the Ohio State quarterback got snubbed and being in the final group.
I think if he had played the game he played in a national spotlight like he did this past weekend, I think he would have been in this talk. But I think this, and I don't think the Florida guy would have been there.
The
Trask
is definitely the number 4. So
I agree with that. I think he's coming in 4th tonight. I think Jones is coming in 3rd, Lawrence 2nd, and I think we have a wideout in Smith taking home the Heisman Trophy for 2020.
I agree with you.
I think his stats speak for themselves.
I think this is one of our first full agreements.
Look, numbers don't lie, right? Numbers don't lie. And his performance, throughout the year has been steady at a very high level. In all honesty, I think Lawrence kind of dropped a little bit after that other game, losing that game. I think him missing time hurt him as well. The surprise in this group to me is the Alabama quarterback, Jones. I mean, he's kind of like a Joe Burrow type of one-year wonder, came out of nowhere and, has played at a high level all year and has ultimately probably put him in position to be taken at the end of the first round of the NFL draft come April, with a game to go, kudos to him.
No doubt.
Kudos to Bama in general. You have 2 guys that are Heisman finalists. I think your team's pretty good. you know, to have two guys, you know, in that Heisman finalist category. You know, to me, it's just it's such an offensive award. You know, like we said, we looked at it a little bit yesterday, and you know, the last defensive guy to win it was Charles Woodson, and I believe it was 97. You know, I get it. I do. I get it. But you know, it is what it is. So I think Smith takes it home tonight. Jones finishing third, Lawrence second, and Trask fourth. So that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much a lock in that exact order. And there's not a normally I would have a huge debate on this. My one thing is that I actually think the player who right now, so if you were to rate who is playing the best football right now, the players in college playing the best football right now, how would you rate guys? Where would you go? 1, 2, 3, and it could be anybody.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, look, after that performance the other day, you want to say Justin Fields is up there. He might be playing, you know, perfect time to be playing your best football.
I think would be number 2 right now. And then I would have Mac Jones as 3. And then I would have Trevor Lawrence as 4. And then Kyle Trask wouldn't even be in the mix in the top 4.
I think he kind of played his way out with 3 first quarter interceptions, but you know,
I'm concerned about. I said this before. And I know Dan Mullen could care less about it. So that I you know, players kind of the way that they play in a game like that. A lot of it has to do with, you know, if their coach kind of doesn't think it's a big deal, then they're not going to think it's a big deal, and that's why he played like that. But that would be a concern for me overall with him at the NFL too. Now we talked yesterday about the NFL, how, you know, we were raised differently and we're high school coaches. So every game matters to us. But the way to think, like, let's talk briefly about, and you know, I think you might know where I'm going with this, but I love Joe Judge's comments. Joe Judge, right? Am I right?
Yes, Giants.
For some reason that it's his name sounds like it's his name Judge, and Joe just like that's what his name should be. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're like, what should be the head coach? Like a head coach's name, like Joe Judge, that's a head coach's name. So Joe Judge's comments about the game, I'll pull it up and read it briefly. Just so everybody's on the same page. A lot of our followers are New York based, so they probably will, you know,
the way he speaks, man, he is very much you know, when he speaks, people listen. You know, you can always say like when, you know, certain people speak, they demand, like, you know, they command the room itself, and he does that. You know what I'm saying? When he talks, like whether it's his tone or whether it's just the way he does it, I feel like, you know, he grabs the audience with when he's speaking. And his comments were, I mean, they were strong, you know, they were strong. I think he's done a good job with, you know, and being in the New York spotlight. I feel like you need to do that. Something that I think Adam Gase didn't do, or wasn't very good at. I think Joe Judge brings that when he speaks.
Yeah. I mean, let's play it and let's see. I can't believe, by the way, I did a prospect video with I never turned on the volume.
I thought it was my stuff when
it was a pretty lengthy analysis too, which is going to be difficult to replicate. In the same, like, you know, when you're kind of in the moment, you're like, oh yeah, like,
yeah, you're just going,
and you're just going, and then all of a sudden, for it not to be recorded, that was a little tough.
Yeah, because I believe it was like 10 minutes.
I went 10 minutes, and I don't like. I know I'm not gonna be able to do the same justice to his film than I did the first time because it's harder. Like,
it's hard to replicate when you're in the mode.
Plus, I kind of do it blind a little bit. Like, I look at a couple clips before I go, just so I have a better idea exactly.
Right, you want to have some foundation,
but I don't want to be biased. So I don't want to be like, I want to watch him as I would be watching him, like as if I was a college coach, getting the highlight tapes on it, and just getting a first like impressions of things, right? And anyway, the prospect was such a big time athlete. His film was awesome. You got to watch his film if you ever get a chance. And he's only rated the number 10 prospect. But I understand because his position, he's an offensive outside linebacker, but he's a running back. He does all these different things, and he's probably the best athlete that I've watched as far as highlight tape go. I don't, game tape. I'm not watching their game tape, nor do I have time to go through every single one. I'm just going off of like guessing athleticism and by their way they're moving and the way they're doing certain things that their potential can be X. Anyway, right. Joe Judge, here he is. Okay, that's not volume. No.
Yeah. Can you turn that up? I definitely can't hear that.
I'm having a hard time with it. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna be able to.
I mean, just kind of to sum it up, basically. I mean, and you can help me with it if I'm missing something. He's basically talking about people putting themselves in harm's way, correct? And kind of through this whole pandemic and whatnot, and to not go all out is a disservice in general, correct?
I'll read it fast. Obviously, players have asked throughout the day. I just can't express one more thing. Keep in mind, this season we had a lot of people opt in to this season. Okay, we had a lot of people opt in, meaning a lot of people chose to be a part of it. Coaches, players, family members. Look at a group of grown men. I asked effort day in and day out, blah, 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 empty the tank. Then I can look them in the eye and assure I am always going to do anything I can to put the competitive advantage, player strength. To me, you don't ever want to disrespect those players and their effort and disrespect the game, the sacrifices they made to come into work every day and test before coming in. Maybe they did test every day. I thought they only tested multiple times a week, but to sit in meetings spaced out, to wear masks, have shields over their masks, to go through extensive protocols, to travel, and unconventional, get text at 6:30 in the morning, telling them they weren't going to practice that day. They had to do a virtual day. They couldn't go to Thanksgiving. They don't have family over Thanksgiving. Avoid
sacrifices.
Gathering. But basically, and then the last part is to disrespect the effort that everyone put forward to make this season success in the NFL, to disrespect the game, not compete 60 minutes. He says, we will never do that as long as I'm the head coach of the Giants. That, to me, is a guy who's confident in who he is as a coach and confident on his standing, in with his players and what he wants to get across and what he wants to get accomplished. Adam Gase essentially did the same thing as far as playing wise, but didn't put it out there in that way with the whole and obviously got fired before he got to comment on this, but Joe Judge took the opportunity smartly to reiterate that would never happen. So there will be no such thing as long as Joe Judge is the head coach if for some reason they're really bad. As far as players thrown basically essentially, or I don't know if the players in Philly threw the game, that the coach put them in a position that they would lose the game. And for reasons of draft pick, that won't happen in New York. And kudos to him for that.
Yeah, like I said, I think he set himself up for the future. He's kind of, said it. I mean, this is year one. You know what I mean? I mean, this is really only year one for him. So he's still creating a culture and a foundation. And like we've said over time and time again, like if you can make it through this year in a positive way and get through this, a lot of stuff moving forward will be a lot easier. And I think one of the main things about, not only being a head coach or the CEO of a program is you need to create, and present that line as to where you're going to be or what you're going to be about, be transparent. And I think he's done that, phenomenal. I think it's out there. I think people know where things are going to go with him. I think he doesn't hide behind anything. He's willing to make the tough choices and tough decisions that are part of being a head coach that need to be, made firmly. I don't think he balances. I don't think he goes back and forth on things. I think he sees his way, puts his foot down, and then goes ahead with that. And I think that's huge. I think that's beyond, especially in New York. You know what I mean? It might not be the right way or the wrong. It might not be the right way or the wrong way, but he's gonna go one way and continue with it.
Great take.
Football and the kitchen sink.
Audio.
Hey, so now we're moving on.
We got the drop.
You like that? A little bit of a drop right there for you. What I mean, get everybody hyped. We'll move on. But standpoint. You gotta have fun.
It's the little things.
You got little things. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. When you're moving on up, people like that. You got a little couple of facts going on, and eventually we get to go cut 4, and boom, that'll be the audio.
I mean, we can prove what we're talking about. You know what I mean? We're giving opinions and whatnot, but a lot of stuff we're talking about is factual stuff. I mean, it's stuff that's in the news. We're just, bringing it to you in a different, from our point of view and things like that,
So Sarkisian putting the staff together. Let's see.
They released his numbers, by the way, for his salary.
Oh, what are the numbers?
So he ultimately it's a it's a deal worth and I'm reading this off Football Scoop. It's a deal worth more than $34 million, including a starting salary for 2021 of $5.2 million. So he was the nation's highest paid assistant, to begin with. Right. And now he's in the top 15 in coaching salaries. Obviously, there's incentives in there. There's incentives in there and whatnot that could lift it to above $6 million in the the back end years. He's got an auto. It includes a guaranteed retention bonus in the middle years of the pack. Tom Herman was the 11th highest paid coach.
He was $5.8 million.
Right.
So they're paying him a little bit less.
Here's the thing. I think his just in general. So the Texas Longhorns are committing over $60 million to the football program through this whole thing, whether it be the buyout, what they owe to assistants, and moving forward with Sark's, $60 million. $60 million.
60 million. It's a lot of money.
Yeah. That being said, there's another article on here today as far as talking about his offensive staff, which he pretty much has. It looks like he's got a lot of it already in place. He is bringing Kyle Flood with him from Alabama to be his offensive coordinator, according to Football Scoop. He's taking AJ Milwee. Which is he's going to be his quarterback's coach. What is it?
I think he's an analyst.
It says here he has
he was going to
come aboard. He is the former
Akron, Arkansas State.
Right, former Akron offensive coordinator. He got that job as a 30-year-old, so he's a young buck. And just a week ago agreed to be Arkansas State, like you said. Obviously, he's going to be leaving that and going somewhere else. So kind of interesting that, Arkansas State has seen 2 guys hired as offensive coordinator and then gone within 2 weeks. But that being said, he makes that move. And then it looks like here Holman Wiggins will be the receivers coach. And Stan Drayton is actually being retained as the running backs coach.
Stanley Drayton.
Now, I don't know much about Drayton or Wiggins as running backs and receivers coaches. I don't know much about them. We do know Kyle Flood from being the being a head coach at Rutgers and whatnot, but he's been with Alabama for a while. I know that Milwee was with Alabama at one point, so Sark is familiar with that. It says here ultimately Sark's going to call the plays, but obviously Milwee and Flood will have a lot to do with the day-to-days going from there. So it looks like his offensive staff is very much together, and defensive staff, since Muschamp kind of turned him down, looks like they're looking to Barry Odom, the former head coach of Missouri,
to
be the DC.
Well, they listed also. I just had it. Now I lost it. Let's see. Who did they list? Zach Arnett. No. Or is that not updated? That's 1 minute. That's 3 hours ago. So they list Zach. Is that Mississippi State's defensive coordinator?
I know, and then there's a. I think we're looking at current. Was it? Is Arnett? Arnett's at Ole Miss right now.
Arnett's at Ole Miss. Not Ole Miss, Mississippi State. So that's interesting staff, and then interesting. Now, who's going to replace offensive coordinator for Alabama or Sark? Sark's coaching this game, I think, right?
I don't know that.
I'm assuming he is since it's only one more week, but what do I know? I think he might be. Yeah. Pretty sure he is coaching this game. I think they all are. And then the ones that are from Alabama, and then there will then after this game. That's interesting. Okay. Interesting salary. I'm a little surprised that it's a little less. Not that it's a big deal, but I am a little.
Maybe he asked for that so he could have a higher pool for assistants. You know, that's always a bargaining chip to get some of those guys to come with him. Who knows? 5.2 million a year still puts him in the top 15 in the country. So
yeah, right.
You know, I mean, and you would expect the head coach of Texas to make a top 15 salary in the country.
Okay. All right. Well, moving on from that, I think I still Texas football is doing some interesting things. I wonder how it will help them for this year recruiting and going forward, and if that'll be the case. The other thing we didn't talk about the other day, which was really interesting. Now I don't see it anymore, but I'm assuming it's still the case. Is Barton Simmons still going to Vandy? The analyst, the national analyst for 24/7 Sports, which, by the way,
Did we lose you? Technical difficulties? Nope. You're muted. Nope. Technical difficulties, Coach Schuman.
now we're back. All
there you go. Now you're back.
So
you know, we're sitting here talking about all these openings, but I'm telling you, like, if you go out throughout the country, there's so many high-level programs without defensive coordinators right now that it took me a minute when I was looking at it to really, you know, say, wow, like there's a lot of programs without them right now. And it's kind of flies under the radar in a way. But you're talking about, you know, LSU, looking for a DC. You're talking about Notre Dame looking for a DC. I mean, those two right there are big spots to fill. Auburn, I mean, it's kind of interesting, and now, Texas, Michigan, Illinois, Arizona. I mean, Purdue. I mean, these are, these are some pretty big programs looking for a defensive coordinator. I think some of this times, everybody's so enamored with the offenses right now. But you're even looking at some of the up and coming, like in Indiana. Indiana's looking for a defensive coordinator. I mean, that's just, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, that's 9 programs, your big Power 5 stuff, looking for this, looking for defensive coordinators. I know everybody's enamored with the whole, offensive scoring points and stuff like that, but defense still matters. Come on, man. I mean, South Carolina, there's another one. I mean, that's a lot of programs looking for defensive coordinators right now. And I would think that you'll see some of this stuff, kind of start to wrap up in the next couple of weeks. But one of the hot names out there is Freeman, the defensive coordinator for Cincinnati. I mean, he's been linked to a lot of these. I think he had a good year. They had a good year. I think he'll be a name that will be in one of these big time spots.
Freeman?
Absolutely.
So, I don't know if you heard
Marcus Freeman.
Did you hear what I said about Barton Simmons going to Vandy, like who's basically a national analyst for 24/7 Sports?
Right.
Like, what do you think about that? I mean, my guess is they're hoping for his analysis capabilities.
I know the position that he was taking was somewhat of a player personnel type of thing. So I guess that's what they're looking for, is his ability to evaluate talent, maybe evaluate talent to a level that where can we get the highest caliber players that can succeed at Vanderbilt. I also think that you hire him for his networking and ability to go find these guys. As far, maybe that's a leg up.
Right.
You're obviously hiring him because there's an angle, or there's some box that he checks that others can't. Whether it's just simply like, hey, we're hiring this guy from a recruiting website. Maybe that brings some attention that's not normal. What are you trying to do to bring light to your program or to switch things up? But hey, I mean, it's one way to go about it. I mean, why not?
Why not? Do you think that brings?
I think it gets you 1 or 2.
Well, that could be a difference maker.
Absolutely. So, especially for a program that struggles, that if you get 3 wins or 4 wins, if you head to a bowl game, like, you're a hero.
Do you know that we have our own Facebook page now, Football in the Kitchen Sink?
We got intros, we got drops, we got Facebook pages. We're
what I'm saying? I mean,
2021 is already doing us justice, and we're only 5 days in.
I had someone talk to us today that we should be getting sponsors. I said, I don't know if our audience is quite large enough yet, but when our audience does get large enough, of course we will have wonderful sponsors that we will pitch their product for them.
Can't wait.
So
all types of products as well.
Yeah, whatever you want to sell, we'll let you sell it.
We'll let you sell it. We'll market it. Let me ask you a question now, okay? Let me take from that list I just gave you.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me pick. I'm taking that off. That. Which one of these defensive coordinator jobs would you want?
Okay.
Michigan, Texas, Auburn, Notre Dame, or LSU? Michigan,
LSU.
Texas, Auburn, Notre
LSU.
Dame, LSU.
LSU.
LSU number 1.
Yep. Auburn number 2.
Auburn 2.
Texas number 3.
Michigan 4 or 5? Is Michigan DC job a better job than Notre Dame?
Notre Dame number 4.
I think that's where I'm at. That's weird.
And then
We agree on 2 things.
Michigan 5. So that tells you a lot, though, I would guess, about
We're simpatico.
what's that?
I said we're simpatico. We're matching it up. Here's the thing: is the ability at LSU is you're going to have athletes. Like you're going to have the ability to coach a defense that is extremely athletic. Tabbed is DBU pretty much. I just think you're going to attract that, and on Auburn being in the SEC is obviously a huge attraction. Now Texas, in my eyes, if you can defend the pass, you're good because you're in the Big 12 where everybody just chucks it all around.
Right.
Michigan, you're in the the Big 10. And then ultimately Notre Dame, you're, independent / ACC.
Right.
Notre Dame, man, they always struggle defensively, I feel like.
And I don't think they should, to be honest.
No.
They're not playing like I don't know. I don't.
I did see this was pretty interesting. They released their 2021 schedule, Notre Dame,
right?
And it was pretty interesting. Some of the teams I see now, we know they're normally an independent. You know what I mean? They're normally an independent schedule team, but they affiliate with the ACC. This year, they affiliated with the ACC because of COVID and everything going down. So next year, okay, their schedule is this. They open up at Florida State. Home against Toledo. Home against Purdue. They're playing Wisconsin in Chicago.
Yep.
Cincinnati.
Okay.
At Virginia Tech. Home against USC. Home against North Carolina. Home against Navy. At Virginia. Home against Georgia Tech. And then at Stanford. Now, let's go through it. At Florida State should be a win. And Notre Dame, you should thank me because I can't stand Notre Dame. So the fact that we're spending a segment here going over your schedule and talking about you, like, you're welcome. At Florida State should be a win in my eyes. That program right now is just a hot mess. Toledo, that should be a win. Purdue should be a win. Wisconsin, I don't know. That should be a good one. In my
Notre Dame?
No, Wisconsin, Notre Dame in a neutral site, I think should be a good game. Cincinnati, they had a great run this year. Can they do it 2 years in a row? So we'll chalk that up to should be a good game. At Virginia Tech, no idea what's going on in Blacksburg. Things have changed. It's not the same Virginia Tech.
Isn't the Beamer one of the
No, Shane Beamer just took over for South Carolina.
South Carolina, that's right. Yeah. That's Justin Fuente, right? That's right.
USC. North Carolina.
Tough schedule.
Yeah. This is kind of where I'm like, I give them kudos for this. It looks like, USC, never know. Yeah. North Carolina, Mac Brown, they're definitely up and coming. I wouldn't want to mess with a North Carolina team going. I also saw a statistic yesterday that, of the top 10 recruits in North Carolina, I think 7 of them are verbal to go to North Carolina in the state itself.
That's really good.
Yeah. So he's doing his right. Navy should be a W. Virginia, Georgia Tech, Stanford, those should all be wins. But North Carolina, USC, Cincinnati, Wisconsin. In my eyes, those are games that are, I don't know. Let's see how good you are. The Cincinnati one is very intriguing. But that is, So Notre Dame is always going to have the opportunity to be on national television. They're going to be in a spotlight no matter what. They're Notre Dame. So to dial it up against certain teams like that, you got to do that. But, the thing is always, do they deserve to be where they are? Because, in his however many number of BCS games he's been in, Brian Kelly, since being at Notre Dame, they haven't won one. Now, did they have that huge win this year against Clemson? Yeah, but look what happened when they had their quarterback. Does Notre Dame – so my question to you is, does Notre Dame get put higher than they should be because they're Notre Dame?
Well, I mean, Notre Dame is going to be in a situation where they could be pretty if they win that, they're going to be back. If they win all those games, they're going to be back in the playoff again,
Look, I don't – in my eyes, I don't care who they play. If they run their table, they're going to be in the playoffs just because they're Notre Dame. That's how I look at it. I think they get too much recognition for being Notre Dame. I think if you put Notre Dame in the SEC, they're a 500 team every year.
I don't. That's a big call. That's a bold call. That they're 500 every single year. Wow.
Maybe have a good year and get. I just don't see them consistently beating an Ole Miss. I don't see them consistently beating an LSU, a Florida. I don't see them competing week in and week out with SEC teams.
That's interesting. I think
it's a bold take. It's a bold take. I know.
I think they're about 70% on that one, and
Now to me, you put them in the Big Ten. Skyrocket. I think it's them and Ohio State. Them and Ohio State every year for the Big Ten championship.
That's a bold take. I think that might deserve a drop.
That's just
football and the kitchen sink.
And I'd love to hear, some feedback for that, because that's, to me, it's SEC or, in my eyes, it's SEC or bust. You know what I mean? There's a reason that those teams are as good as they are, and when they play in bowl games, they usually win them. I think they beat the hell out of each other week in and week out, that they almost hurt themselves because they play in that league. But, I think you put a lot of those teams against other teams throughout the country, and I don't know if they can compete.
Wow. Interesting. I gotta give you a quick take here. Nick Saban's daughters came out 27 minutes ago. In a tweet she since deleted, has thoughts on the championship game. If you're not confident to play, then say it. I call BS on the COVID cases. They're just worried about – she spelled worried wrong. They're just worried about their QB and want him to have more time to heal. If he's hurt, put in your backup. You didn't see us postpone the rest of the season to wait for Waddle. Bye. She deleted it.
Because if you didn't, and we didn't even talk about it yet, is, the guy coming into this season wasn't, Smith playing receiver for Bama. It was Waddle, who's broke his leg and has since healed and is now practicing.
Right. I heard he's going to be back. So,
God, I love when daughters start tweeting.
Yeah.
You think he called her real quick and was like, "What are you doing?"
What are you doing? Delete immediately.
Miss Terry sent a text and said, "What are you doing?"
Do I have to come and kill you right now?
Right, like this is national championship week. Be quiet.
Don't give bulletin board material to the other team. And Nick Saban is so careful with that stuff too. So they say,
come on, man. The guy's got a button at his desk that automatically closes his door. Like, Imagine sitting in a chair across from him and he just hits a button and his door shuts. Woo!
Oh, if you're a player in there, and
just think about how intimidating that is as a recruit.
How about this? So Barstool OSU, so Barstool Ohio State.
Barstool's amazing, by the way, and we can talk about that in a little bit as to
I
what
love Barstool, and I love their founder.
Like what he's doing with this whole donation thing for small business.
It's great.
He's almost up for 20 million, man.
Yeah, it's amazing what he's doing.
It's just so cool and so awesome. But that's a whole nother segment. I mean, this guy who a lot of people really like want to talk whatever because he's just that type of individual. But for him to like go to another level and do this, I think it's just so awesome. I love when people can, their actions shut people up. And this is exactly what it's doing.
Yeah, so Barstool OSU said, "Yo, Saban, come get your daughter." Oh, man. And Outkick is talking about it. And then, wow, she just gave them bulletin more material. Not that, I mean, ultimately that's going to make the bigger deal. But that's wild.
My thing
so
is,
my guess is, so what is Ohio State trying to get this game postponed?
I don't know.
Claiming COVID? That is my question.
Here's the thing. And we have to talk about it because, you know, the Cleveland Browns just finally make the playoffs, right? Yeah. And what happens to them today? Their head coach is out. 2 other coaches are out. There's 2 players that are out. Their entire has to be shut down. COVID. It's the most Cleveland Browns thing that could happen, you know? Well, they finally get there, and you know they got to go, and now they're going to be without their head coach. So you know the questions are, what's going to happen? Can he be in his own little booth and calling plays, or what? Because he's the play caller, and we saw how that just affected Clemson. And now you're talking about a guy who's, it seems, has a very, very good relationship as far as with his quarterback in Baker Mayfield. You know, what's going to happen? They got to play the Steelers, you know, who's a very disciplined team, coming off a loss to them. Now, warranted, they didn't play many people, but, you know, this is now it's more than ever is when you need a head coach out there, you know, to kind of, you know, the Cleveland Browns' first time in the playoffs, you know, going against the Steelers. Like, you need your head coach there, and he's not going to be there. Yep. So I think this whole use of COVID thing, as far as what, you know, they're saying, I don't know what's going with it. But look, if I'm Ohio State, I'm probably doing anything I can to get a couple more days for Justin Fields to heal up.
Oh, that's what they're doing. That's
there's no way.
That's what they're accusing them of doing.
But here's the thing, man. I'm just telling you, like, whatever they shot him up with at halftime worked like a charm. Because to see those first couple plays after he took that hit, and to see the pain he was in, even him grimacing and wincing as he's getting on the bike on the sideline, you know, and then for him to come out in the second half and do what he did, you know, that stuff can only last for so long. I mean, if he's getting those shots even a week, even, you know, your body gets tolerant, you know, so It's not going to work the same magic that it did. Plus, God forbid he takes another early shot. I mean, he'll be padded up and whatnot, but one good shot, man, and you're talking who's the backup.
Right.
And I don't care what you say. If you're an Alabama defensive player and you're looking to win something, I know where my helmet's going when I'm hitting Justin Fields. And I don't think that's a dirty move. I think that's part of the game. You know, this new generation may not look at it, but I'm pretty sure that my defensive coordinator on the top of our tip sheet every single week in college, the number one thing on the tip sheet that we got was find out who the number 2 is.
Did I ever tell you where this is my story of a number 2 coming in and we knocked out a number 1 and it ended up
and the number 2 was better?
Yes. So we play in Hofstra my senior year and we
Flying Dutchman?
The Flying Dutchman. We knocked their starting quarterback out early in the game. We were winning, but I guess it was maybe this early second period or late first. We're like, oh, we got this game now. In comes this quarterback named Gino Carmazza, who ended up getting drafted.
Sounds about right for a Hofstra quarterback.
Yep. Ended up getting drafted in the 3rd round. And he was only a sophomore at the time. He comes in and just lights us up. And we're like, what?
So you guys did Hofstra a favor.
We did Hofstra a favor. So, you know, sometimes like, sometimes like in college, you're like, yeah, our starters but the backup might actually be better. But like, we're halfway through the season, which we'll ride it. And then,
there's always some logistics to it.
Well, yeah, this opportunity, that was the opportunity that he needed. And he just lit us up. So anyway, that's my yeah. You think you know the backup until you actually play against the backup situation there. And
here's the other, that being said,
obviously the guy's not now as good as Justin
backup
Fields.
at Ohio State is also not, probably a starter at every other program in the country. So, be careful what you wish for.
Right on.
And it's not like they don't have a running game to go back on either, because we watched, the Ohio State running back run wild the other day.
Right.
And listen, when you have a coach like Day at the helm, he's going to know what's up. And if you think he doesn't have a plan for if something happens to Fields, you know what I mean? I mean, they're going to be more prepared, to go without him than they would be, you know what I mean? Like, I think the plan with him in place is okay, but they're going to spend some extra time on if something happens and he's not good to go, that they'll be more prepared. The biggest thing is I'm curious, and we got to find out whether or not Sark is coaching in this game, because if he's not, that's something big.
That's big. Yeah.
Especially, because, and Jones has played phenomenal throughout the entire year, but there's something to be said when your play caller is not there. I mean, we talked about it yesterday. There's just a different, there's a different feel that needs to be there calling plays in the middle of a game, that if you're not in sync with what's going on, that's a problem. And
right.
I don't think the national championship is a time to be trying that stuff out.
That makes a lot of sense.
And the game's in Miami, correct?
The game is, in Florida.
Not a fan of that stadium. I haven't been there since the renovations, but it's just in the middle of nowhere.
Miami
Gardens or whatever it is. Yeah.
What is that?
Don't get me wrong.
Is that where Joe Robbie is?
Yes, that's it. It's what it is. It's Joe Robbie. It's, what was it? Pro Player, maybe. I think it was for a while. Hard Rock or something.
Still, it's all the same stadium.
It's all the same place. The University of Miami plays there. The Dolphins play there. I mean, the University of Miami plays there, and it's like 30 to 45 minutes away from the school. It's very much like a MetLife Stadium type of gig.
I got a question for you.
Go.
Let's say you were offered, and we're taking New Jersey out of the mix because you live here. You're offered a head coaching job in one of these 4 states. Which one would be first, and which one will be last? Okay, I'm talking about high school here. If you were offered a high school head coaching job in Florida, Texas, California, or Georgia? Not yet. Which would be 1 and which would be 4?
Florida 1, Texas 2, Georgia 3, Cali 4.
Interesting. So even though Texas would be and Georgia would be full-time pay, Florida would not be full-time pay.
Florida. Okay. I'd still like to teach.
Right. I get it. Okay.
California,
if you were offered a coaching job in these 4 states, which one would you choose? Pennsylvania, Ohio, Illinois, or let me pick one that's a different one here. Massachusetts.
Oh God.
I'll give you all northern ones because I can't compare southern and northern.
It was
Ohio, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, or Illinois.
Illinois 4.
Okay. Have you been to Illinois?
No. Really have no desire to go. You're going to be shocked by this.
There are some nice things in Illinois. Anyway, okay. Go ahead. I'll be shocked. Go ahead. That's 4. Give me what's 3?
Massachusetts would be 1.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Massachusetts 1. Ohio 2. PA 3.
PA 3.
I really have very little desire to be anywhere.
In any of those, maybe Massachusetts. Massachusetts is nice because that's New England. New England's nice,
and that's the entire appeal. Is obviously as a history guy, Massachusetts, just screams history. I loved the time I spent in Connecticut, and the Northeast in fall is unlike anything in the world, in my eyes. I don't know. Plus, I feel like if you're in Massachusetts and you can, it's not known for that. So if you can go there and do well and ride that thing out, you could be
there are several powerhouse programs.
I'm sure. You wouldn't know of them
unless you were there. Oh,
right. I think in Massachusetts, I'd have the ability for almost every one of my high school players to go play D3 because there's probably 567 Division III colleges within 30 miles of my high school.
Okay, yeah. All right, I'm gonna give you 4 tiny states, and you tell me which ones would be.
I like this game.
This is kind of fun.
Because
I started out thinking like the most desirable, and then I started thinking north because obviously you're gonna choose south over north unless you're in New Jersey. All right, now I'm gonna pick tiny. All right, here we go. Maine, Alaska.
Ooh.
I can't give you one that would be a slam dunk because otherwise that'd be too. I would choose it too. So I can't choose it.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be 100%.
I can't put Hawaii in there because everyone will choose.
No, because that literally. I've interviewed for jobs in Hawaii,
and they're good. And there's good football.
I've literally interviewed for jobs in Hawaii just because.
Yeah, just because. So, all right.
And because there's always such a need and a high need for educators out there, no matter what.
Right.
Like, it's just so appealing. Like, I don't know. It's just one of those places.
Expensive there, though. But
what's that?
It's so expensive, but it would be.
I get it.
That would be a job for 2 years, 3 years. Go out there, like
if I could do it again. You know what I mean? Like in my younger days, when I literally had no cares in the world, because you can go out there, you can live.
I try to think like what was I thinking when I was in my 20s?
You rent a room, or you live in a trailer, or something. You live in a bungalow with no power, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you can kind of wing it and just go from it, but.
If I knew I could have ran my company without an office.
Imagine if the technology, you know what I mean? Like you could have been.
I would have been gone. I would have started my career. Like I started out at Saddleback, but I would have after a year or two just went somewhere else. Why not? Okay, so we got Alaska,
Maine,
Wyoming, Montana.
Alaska 1.
Actually, kind of cool states, even though they're freezing cold.
Very cool.
But cool states, all cool states. Alaska would be 1. Okay.
Montana 2.
Okay.
Maine and then Wyoming. Although I do, I think Wyoming and Maine and Montana are they're similar. They're very similar and whatnot, but Alaska, the appeal just because it's Alaska. It's just something so different, so out there, so wild that I think it would be phenomenal. Plus, I have no idea how people in Alaska would take somebody from New Jersey. I would have to literally start going in reverse. because
when I was in high school,
it would be so fast for them. I'd be so fast, so above and beyond. Like, I'd be on Friday and they'd
and you
still
don't even know what facilities you have there either.
You'd be working with a lot. I mean,
it depends on what school. It depends on what school you're at.
Right. I mean, but even you already know that any of these listen, no matter where we go, facilities wise, technology wise, that type of stuff is all not even going to be close to where we're working right now, unless you go to, say California and you're in wherever.
But you'd be surprised.
I'm talking the speed and the amount of people. Like, it's just, I don't know. The Northeast is something that's very different, and especially New Jersey, you know.
All right, so
just the Montana, Wyoming lifestyle of farms, ranges, ranches, like that whole life is just, and I feel like I get to experience a little bit when I go up to my uncle's in Vermont. And don't get me wrong, like that's something that it's interesting and curious to see like that type of living. But I think in Montana, Wyoming, it's just a totally different beast. And then ultimately, I mean, you have some experience in Maine, but I mean, it's just, it's kind of like that outdoorsy, backwood type of like, look, I don't think I'm going 4 wide in Alaska and chucking it all over the place.
Why not?
I personally think I'm going to have a fullback.
You definitely have a fullback, but everybody's going to be used to that kind of offense. So you never know. Like if you could teach,
if I could teach a guy to just throw hitches all down the field, I think we'd be can we run jet sweep in 3 inches of snow?
Or it's just field frozen solid.
That's what I'm saying. Like, can we run a jet sweep where a guy's got to put his foot in the ground to get north and south when he's running in a foot of snow?
Like I wonder, or frozen fields. Like, so have you ever played? Did you ever play in a frozen field in college? You did?
In high school.
You did? Oh, you did? You played in a frozen field?
Because we used to play Thanksgiving Day. And what would happen either Caldwell's field or our field was literally frozen because we had grass. So I can remember my freshman year and my junior year of high school, I can remember playing games on Thanksgiving Day wearing turf shoes. Not cleats, because our cleats wouldn't dig into the ground. It was too frozen.
Yeah, that's what happened when we played in Maine. I'm not Maine.
And it was actually an excellent transition because when we played at Montclair State and you played on AstroTurf, it was pretty much the same thing.
That's cold, right? Well, you guys probably, so then you're sliding.
And AstroTurf, not even so much cold, but just you're playing on concrete, man. Getting tackled on that sucked.
Yeah, I played in a few of those. They don't have them anymore.
No.
They were.
No, we used to play Essex Catholic that became Bishop Francis and then ultimately is now EO, East Orange Campus. We used to play them at Robeson Stadium every single year. We used to play Clifford Scott there, and that was AstroTurf. And it was kind of interesting because, here you are from Butler, you're going to play on AstroTurf. You're like, yeah. And then you got there and you're like, no. Like you felt faster, but remember, everybody was faster.
Right. Absolutely. That's interesting.
And ultimately, those teams were a lot faster than we were at Butler. That's for sure.
I think I'd go with Montana, Alaska.
I got one for you.
Wyoming, then Maine. I think Maine would be last.
What if you went here? What if you went with this? If you went Nevada, Utah, Arizona, or New Mexico. Keep it in that western deserty.
Probably Arizona, Nevada. What was the other two?
Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, Utah.
Arizona. That's tough. I'd say Arizona, Utah, Nevada, New Mexico.
That's exactly what mine would be. Now, I think Nevada.
The only thing about New Mexico, I mean, not New Mexico, Arizona, that I don't know if I'd love. I don't know if I'd love the scorching heat in August. So, same thing with Nevada.
Dry heat.
Utah would be better for that. So that's the only thing I'm not 100% sure of, but I'm kind of incorporating lifestyle and coaching a little bit too.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I don't think you listen. I wouldn't have picked Massachusetts if I didn't think lifestyle was a part of it.
I mean, one of the Vegas would be fun, obviously.
Here's the interesting thing I think about.
And if you coach in Reno,
Nevada gets a good rap because of Bishop Gorman. Collectively, I don't know how the state is other than Bishop Gorman.
There's a few good. There's a couple of good teams. Utah, I've been there. I've seen the talent. They do have some talented athletes there.
Now, like I said, Utah, I've been there. I've played teams from Utah.
Utah's got big kids. They have big kids in Utah.
Right.
Arizona's got some talented athletes.
Yeah, New Mexico is kind of the
New Mexico is really scarce athletically. They will have some linemen. Skill wise, you're definitely going to be limited.
Yeah, you got to recruit Arizona and Texas.
What's cool is like Nevada. I guess like you live in Vegas. There's a whole lot going on. Or if you lived in Reno, the best. What do they call it? The
biggest little city in the world, right?
Right, biggest little city in the world. I've been there because I ran. This is back in the Schuman Speed Center days. You don't even know about these. Schuman Speed Center. Before there was Schuman's Elite Training, before there was NUC Sports, there was Schuman's Speed Center. And Schuman Speed Center from 2002 to 2004 ran speed and quickness camps around the country, setting up the model that would one day become NUC Sports for football camps. But we ran speed and quickness camps, and I ran one out in Portola, California with my father, and we stayed in Reno, okay? And he went to sleep, and oh, boy, did I have a good time.
Can only imagine.
And I was surprised at how much fun I had in Reno. And California is right next door, which was interesting. And it was like Portola was like a kind of like a woods, like a forest area. That's the only way I can explain it, in the mountains right after you get out of the desert. So you get out of the desert and then boom, there's like this mountainous terrain. California is an interesting state. It's too bad taxes are through the roof and it's operated horribly because there's so many different things. But I thought Reno was fun. I was like surprised. I didn't expect Reno to be that much fun, but I had a great time in Reno. I had a great time. So, like, look, it is like, it's like Las Vegas, but smaller. So it's kind of like you can really maneuver around without like extensive crowd. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but also the University of Nevada, Reno is there. And then there's another college there. So it's kind of a nice, there's parts that are dumpy, but
I can imagine.
It's much nicer. Like it's almost like you have a little bit more educated area, even though you wouldn't think that because of the university's right there. You know what I'm saying? So the university's right there. It's a beautiful university. And that's why they get good recruits. That's why they out-recruit UNLV all day long. Because if you saw UNLV and you saw University of Nevada, which is in Reno, like it's not a desert. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just nice. It's nice. So, but anyway, that's
special guest, Spider-Man.
There he is. Oh, Troy. Okay, here we go. This is your shot. You got 5 seconds here. Okay, your 5. And Coach D brought it up. Your 5 favorite superheroes. 5 being the one you like least. 1 being the one that's your favorite. So who's in 5th place?
5th place is Iron Man.
Iron Man is number 5. Fourth place.
Batman.
Number 4. Do you know why? Well, when we get to the top, we'll get reasonings. Number 3.
Green Arrow.
Green Arrow. That's a shocker, actually.
Who is that?
I bet you don't even know who Green Arrow is. I've had to look him up. When we acquired Green Arrow. Troy's favorite color is green. So we acquired Green Arrow. I didn't know who Green Arrow was, but we had to figure that out. Okay. Green Arrow basically shoots a bow and arrow, I think.
Yes.
Right? All right. Number 2.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Big Spider-Man fan here. That's going to be exciting when you start to watch the movies when you get older.
Yeah, because there's like a million.
There's a million Spider-Man movies. You'll love it.
Just action Marvel movies in general, dude.
Marvel.
Right. Disney Plus has its own category.
Yeah, it's crazy how many superhero. All right,
This is someone who, remember, I didn't grow up with any of that. I never read a comic book. I never watched any of that stuff. I was not a superhero guy. I grew up on Sports Center.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a Superman fan when I was young. But I
What about first place?
And we're coming up on it, and you're going to have to give your explanation as to why he's number 1. So who's number 1?
Hulk.
Don't touch that, please, because we're trying to do a show. The Hulk is number 1. Now tell us why the Hulk.
Because it's green.
Because he's green.
So
and isn't he strong? Is that part of it? And
yes.
And what's Hulk's famous saying? What does he say?
Hulk smash.
Hulk smash.
So Hulk is number 1. Spider-Man's 2. Or no?
Yes. Spider-Man 2? Spider-Man was 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Green Arrow's 3, Batman 4, Iron Man 5.
That's correct. You got it right. Is that right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you can talk like a human. Go ahead. Say yes.
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
All right. Mine's different.
Okay, let's hear what Coach D has his 5 superheroes. You ready? All right, here we go, Coach.
There's only one superhero.
To you, there's only one to him.
I want him.
All right, we're gonna listen to what he has to say. Here, go ahead. All right, Coach D. Batman, he likes number 1.
You want to know why?
The Dark Knight.
Because he's got so many cool gadgets.
But he doesn't have any actual superhero skills.
That's the point.
That's
he
what you like.
The most out of nothing.
He makes the most without having any powers.
He's got nothing.
What's that?
He flies, Batman.
Yes,
but he doesn't fly without help.
Right. He has help, right? He has help, Batman, right?
Robin.
Well, no, Robin has his own set of skill sets, which actually he personally has none, but he has like his own toolbox. Batman has a toolbox. And my favorite was, you don't even have, neither of you guys, Superman was my favorite. The Man of Steel. He could jump over
the fact that he could change in a phone booth.
That's a great thing. And he could jump over a building in a single bound. Oh, and he could use his eyes. His eyes had X-ray vision. That comes in handy when you're an adult. Some would say that maybe he's a pervert. Okay, and then he also couldn't he burn? Could he burn with his eyes? No, I can't remember.
He could do
lasers with his eyes. So his X-ray vision and he has lasers. That's pretty dangerous. That gives him special powers. And he's the Man of Steel. You can't hurt him unless you have one thing. What is the one thing you need to have?
Fire.
No. Water. What is Superman's weakness? Do you know?
I don't know.
Do you think Coach D knows?
No.
I think he does. Coach D, what is Superman's weakness?
Kryptonite.
Kryptonite. You know what kryptonite is? It's like a rock. You would never see it here, but it comes from Krypton, the planet Krypton, which is
what's that?
It's a planet out somewhere in La La Land. Yes. So there you go. Superman is Daddy's favorite. Your favorite is Hulk, and Coach D's favorite is Batman. Isn't that great? Diversity makes the world go round. So there you go. 3 completely different superheroes.
And I probably couldn't.
What
I
do
couldn't
you
name you many.
You couldn't name many superheroes?
No.
Hmm.
Is Robin one?
Robin is Batman. Batman and Robin.
Yeah, but what's Robin do?
Robin is Batman.
What's Robin's skills?
He's good at
Karate?
listening.
Does he do karate?
I don't know. I don't think.
Nah, you're some Troy. You gotta do some research. Right?
I think all he does is put on a white mask.
He has a white? No, I thought he has a black mask on.
No, white. Because he has just like Batman. A white mask going over him.
Batman's mask. Batman doesn't have a mask. He has a suit.
Yeah, and he also has the white eyes.
They're
Am I thinking about Spider-Man?
close enough. We'll get to that one day.
Am
Okay.
I thinking about Spider-Man?
Yeah. No, you're good. You got it. I get what you're saying. And then
What was my number 4?
your number 4 was
Batman.
Batman. What's the best thing about Batman?
I don't have a favorite.
But what do you like about Batman?
I like the colors.
Oh, you like the color? Yeah, he loves the color black. Right? Oh, what did we ever go through your favorite colors? Green.
I'm pretty sure Coach D likes black.
Yeah, Coach D likes color black.
I'm pretty sure that's pretty much what my entire wardrobe consists
I wear
of.
a ton of black. I think one of the things I like is
Hi, how are you
Troy.
doing today? Luigi.
All right. It's slimming. Black is very slimming.
Yeah, well, soon we won't have to worry about that. We'll be able to wear whatever we want.
Yeah, as soon as we get slim, it won't matter. But white definitely makes you look heavier. Black is very slimming. Troy, thank you very much for appearing on the show, and you are done. Great job. Say goodbye.
Thank you, Troy, as always.
All right, enjoyable. Bye-bye. All right, go back over here by your superheroes. Okay. Actually, got a couple of thumbs up with him. Good. Finally,
That's
some
big.
Maybe we should do the whole show with him. I don't know if I could work at that.
He's in rare form. He's all jacked up.
Well, one day when you have kids, you realize he's in rare form 24/7. I love that he thinks that Batman and Robin have white masks. Little does he know that they're Caucasian underneath. That's why. That's what he like. I'm like trying to figure out what the heck he's talking about. So he thinks when you see this like part right here, that's Caucasian. He
I
thinks
guess
your mask is.
He's looking at the whites of their eyes.
Is the whites of their eyes? Is that what it is?
Maybe.
No.
You got to listen. That's a
I'm not
conversation
sure. I
you
gotta
have
find-
with him and get his explanation.
I gotta get his explanation. I don't know what that is. Wild. Yeah, maybe it is the whites in their eye. I don't know, because don't they have brown eyes? Don't they have? Yeah, Batman and Robin have brown eyes. That's a good question. Oh, hilarious. All right. Well, that we took a wild detour on that one.
That's what makes this show great.
Yeah, well, you know what? It kind of breaks it up as you're going, and you're like,
Especially in a slower day. I mean, look, you can only talk about you can only talk about so many coaches changes.
All right, so you know what? College football playoff odds. We didn't do that yet. Anything? What
I
are
believe
the
the
odds?
spread is 9.5.
Okay, the spread is 9.5. Is that the updated DraftKings?
DraftKings.
Is that where you place the?
That's where I go to do my stuff.
Do your occasional, not FanDuel, but DraftKings. Is that the better one?
Listen, my cousin said use DraftKings. I went with DraftKings. It's not like you had to do a lot of swaying back and forth.
That's funny.
College football national championship. Okay, this has it at 8.5.
Okay.
Over under is 75.5.
Over under is 75.5.
Now, obviously, you'd think that's I feel like that's high. but I think it's because, Alabama's averaging 50 a game.
Well, a lot has to do with, if all this speculation is going out, is Justin Fields healed?
The total points for Ohio State over or under 33.5.
The over-under is 33.5 in this game?
For Ohio State.
Oh. What's the over-under overall?
75.5. That's what I'm saying. That's a lot.
That's a lot of points. That means like that.
They're basically saying the game here is going to be, 41
30. Wow.
Yeah.
35? 40 to 35?
Because I like going into like some of the other stuff, like the prop bets and stuff like that. Like, I think that stuff's interesting, So like I said, like some of the prop bets here are, over unders for, teams. So Ohio State, 33.5. Alabama.
Don't play really much D.
41.5 for Alabama. Over under.
I think Bama's going to score. You know what? Here
you go. First quarter, they have it broken down into halves. You know what I mean? Like, right. Alabama is favored by 4.5 at halftime. Over under 37.5 at halftime. Total. Both teams. I'll tell you one. Look, it's in my eyes. It's look, I can bet on the Heisman. Mac Jones. If you're going by these, it's the odds. The odds are in favor of Devontae Smith, Mac Jones finishing second, Trevor Lawrence third, Kyle Trask fourth.
Wow, so it might be worth a bet to put Trevor Lawrence as 2.
Yep.
That sounds like that might be worth a bet, right?
Looking at these odds, it's a locksmith for what these guys think. I do think, as the prop bets come out and go whatever, I do think that, Devontae Smith to score a touchdown in this finals is 100% lock. So put whatever you want on that.
What's the odds of that?
What's that?
The odds.
What are the odds on it?
Yeah.
It's those ones aren't. They're not even out yet. The individual ones aren't out yet. But I'm just saying, if that's a lock, if that's something like that's got to be a lock. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I think tomorrow we dive into the NFL playoffs and take a look at some of our picks for, what are they calling it? Super Wild Card Weekend.
Right.
Got some cool matchups, to be honest. I don't think, in my eyes, looking at some of these, just a preview before we even get there is, looking at it, I'll tell you right now, like there is no game that I see, where it just, to me, looks like it could go either way for a lot of them, Yeah,
I agree with you.
I think, I
think the NFL in general, a lot of these games can,
I just think it's like, I mean, and I'll give you the matchups, so you can kind of, so Saturday's games are, the Colts at the Bills, Rams, Seahawks, and Buccaneers, Washington. I think the only one that I, right off the bat that I would look at and say, okay, done deal would be, the Bucs over Washington.
Yeah. Troy, what? Oh, give me a quick hug. What? You go back to your toys. Okay, buddy. Love you. Yeah, I want to think about that. We'll definitely address that one tomorrow. One of the things I'm kind of looking at online. I love going to Football Scoop to see the jobs that are open.
Oh yeah,
in high school.
I check it multiple times a day.
In high school, just because what my favorite thing to do is, not that I'm.
They're all Florida jobs.
Well, not
unless you want to go to Jamaica. You want to go to Jamaica?
I saw the Jamaica job.
If I was 26, I'm gone.
It wasn't too appealing though. I looked it up. It wasn't.
No, absolutely not. But you'd have free run of whatever you wanted to do, pretty much.
Yeah, but who are you playing against?
You're playing against Canada.
Yeah. So
what type of equipment am I going to have?
I'm looking at Littlefield.
Listen, I get amazing amount of donations. X-Tech Pads can send me a ton of shoulder pads, I'm sure.
Well, I'm looking at like Littlefield High School in Texas. I'm curious where that is. At Littlefield High School in Texas, okay, they have an opening athletic director and head coach, I guess, is near Lubbock, but not really. I'd say near, but not near. You know what I'm saying? But basically, the closest city is Lubbock. And so my favorite thing to go to is like, when you could Google,
Yeah, you just go look at it.
you look into the little town, it's all surrounded by farms.
Yeah, but I go to the satellite thing, and the only thing that stands out is probably the turf football field in the middle of town.
Yeah, although this is on the edge side of town. It's a little bit away, like a mile away from high school. But then I go in to see, all right, what are the restaurants in Littlefield, Texas? So it's pretty cool. Like they have a barbecue spot, and then they
They
have
don't have a Wawa.
no, they don't have Wawas. I think Wawa's like more of a Jersey, PA thing.
Yeah,
And then they have they have Loco's Restaurant and Bar. They got Mi Favorita Bakery. They have a barbecue joint. They got Chez D's Burritos. A lot of Mexican restaurants. Interesting. And they have, what else do they have restaurant wise? Woody's Burgers and such. It's so I find that stuff so interesting when you go into small towns, and it looks like this town is a lot of.
Well, the other thing I think is cool is the fact that Texas high school football is going to be going on longer than college football.
That is why. Well, they're going. They'll still be playing a week after.
I think they're playing this weekend.
That's interesting. Really.
So some of your matchups to think about for tomorrow, brother. You got the Colts, Bills. You got the Rams, Seahawks, Buccaneers, Washington, the Ravens and the Titans, the Bears and the Saints, Browns and Steelers.
Wow. That's I'll have it. I'll be ready tomorrow. I mean, I think I know who I would pick already.
I'm telling you, I think I may only have one that I think is, and that's obviously I'm taking the Bucks.
It's a yeah. Who the Bucks have?
The Bucks over Washington is my no-brainer, and I'm taking the Saints over the Bears because those two I could say right off the bat, just because without looking at anything else, I'm taking Tom Brady and Drew Brees in the playoffs.
Just because they've had so much success.
The hardest game that's I'm going to tell you right now that's going to be for me to pick is Rams Seahawks.
I go Seahawks. Pretty sure I'm going to go Seahawks.
Ravens Titans should be a brawl.
Ravens Titans.
Yeah, because they don't even like each other.
That's going to be a good game. That's going to be a close game. That's going to be a tough one to pick. Steelers are playing. Who are the Steelers playing?
Browns with all this COVID stuff.
Well, if COVID, is there odds moving because of that at all, or
yes?
Okay, so the odds probably are heavily favored.
That was moving when this all came out today. The fact that they were closing down the facility again, and you're without a head coach.
Crazy.
Let's see where it's at right now. Cleveland +6. So the Steelers are favored by 6.
The land for sale in Littlefield, Texas.
Oh my God! What do you? Like I said, you're going to be Jed Clampett.
80. I can get 88 acres for $132,000.
You can't get 80 acres. You can't get that here for $1 million.
$1 million? No, you couldn't get it. It cost you $20 million. 80, maybe more. 88 acres. It looks like a lot of desert. Doesn't look very appealing land. There's some grassy areas. I don't know if my cattle could survive in that.
I can raise cattle.
Can you raise cattle?
I know what I'm doing.
Oh, you could buy a motel for $200,000. The Plains Motel.
What? The Bates Motel?
Very cute.
What is that?
Pit did.
Oh, all right. You want to do a live read? You're gonna read. You show Coach D how you can read.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, here we go. All right, he's reading the book.
Pit did.
Okay.
Pit can see the duck. Pit ran with the duck. Pit did.
Very good. Look at this.
Nice job, bud.
He's reading this little tiny book for you. All right, here we go. This is just for you, Derek.
Can see the dog.
Good.
Pit ran
Way ahead.
to the dog.
Good.
Pit can look at the door.
Good.
That a boy.
Pit ran to the door.
Very good.
Pit did.
Correct.
Excellent job, buddy.
Ran to the door. Pit did.
Killed it. Look at those reading skills, kid.
You just keep progressing that way, buddy.
Not just athletic, but can read. There you
Yeah,
go. He's pretty smart. He's pretty smart. Kindergartner.
Columbia sounds a lot better than, UConn.
Oh, definitely. Academically, yes. Maybe athletically too. I don't know. Is UConn playing in the spring, or they're just completely taken off? I guess because who would they play?
No one. FCS. Or actually, they'd probably be competitive playing FCS. Maybe they could hop in with Richmond and Holy Cross and play that schedule. Delaware.
Wow. Oh, we got. This is politics. Okay. I saw the word resigned, and I was curious if. Oh, there we go. It's amazing. Jerry Jones.
Oh, I did have one thing for you because John Gordon, we all know, one of my favorite authors, right? So a couple years back, he wrote a book called One Word. I've posted it on my Facebook and things like that. Rather than, New Year's resolutions and things like that, come up with one word to kind of set your tone for the year. I have picked action as my word for the year.
Okay, say that again to me.
Rather than a New Year's resolution.
Got it.
Setting all these lofty goals and whatever that most people usually do not attain and fail within 30 days. Cool. John Gordon, one of my favorite authors, put together a book called One Word, in which you take a word and focus on that as basically, your motivation throughout the entire year. So my 2021 word, after some deliberation and going back and forth on things, I've picked the word action for the entire year. So that's kind of, what I'm going to go. The underlying, driving force for this year will be the word action. And I'm not trying to put you on the spot because it's something you definitely have to look in. You definitely want to think about. It's not something to just throw off at the whim. Let's
talk about that.
Time, do your thing. And, Coach D's going with action.
Action. Well, action's a big Tony Robbins word, too. Taking action is the key.
Right.
Like what we did at starting this podcast. By the way, I've got some great compliments. Some people have said to me that we should be on radio.
You want to talk about a dream job? Oh, my. 4 or 5 hours a day sitting on the radio. Like, I watch what these guys do or listen to these guys all the time. Like, best job in the world.
Well, yeah. I mean, I got a face for radio, so.
I think we both do.
We used to listen. Now, let's not sell ourselves short because
I don't want to go in the past. Listen, how about this? We will soon have bodies for Baywatch. Remember, I live at the beach. I couldn't tell you the last time I took my shirt off at the beach.
I take it off at the beach no matter what.
See, what's different is you at one time had abs. Even in my heyday, I couldn't get
You
abs.
didn't have abs?
I've never had abs. I never have had abs in my life.
Oh, that's surprising because you're a wide receiver.
My genetics, it just not like everything under the sun. Everything from diet to this to that to never. Just like I was never defined. You know what I mean? Like so many people, they talk about that. Like my college roommate and I brought it up last night. He's like, man, you just had that like just awkward, non-athletic looking body, but could just play sports. Like I don't understand it. He's like, and it wasn't like you didn't work or do any of that stuff. Like he just
interesting. I mean, I wasn't like
my father's wasn't like that either, though. There's no definite. Now my sister, she got a little chiseled up when it came to gymnastics and things like that. But I'm just like, I just never was on that level. Weird, very weird. And it used to piss me off.
I think I'd like to own the Plains Motel.
Yeah, run that one by Nicole. See what she says. Hey, we're moving to Texas. And I just bought a hotel.
There's a oh god.
Like, don't use your American Express this weekend because there's going to be some charges on there.
You know the show. I don't really watch. I've seen a couple episodes with Nicole, but it's called Schitt's Creek.
Upstate New York?
No, Schitt's Creek. It's called.
Yeah, no, I'm saying based off I think it's upstate New York is where it's supposed to be. Whatever. Yeah, I couldn't really get into it.
They owned the town or something like that, and they were rich people, but I don't know what happened because I don't watch it. But they own this town or other I guess I don't know. Whatever they did, they have this town they own, and that's all they have left after they go broke. And they move there, and it's like, they're staying in
they're just trying to make it work.
The funny thing is, I think I would. Oh my God, you got to see what they actually have. All the bad pictures posted of the hotel. It's actually comical. I can't believe they post those pictures. I don't want to blow anybody up on TV, but if you, I can't believe they show the hotel rooms. They look horrendous. Oh my God. Oh yeah. You're better off just knocking it down. The land.
Maybe that's the next move. Maybe that's what the next owner is going to do.
There's a couple nice houses. There's a nice house right there. There you go. There you go. It looks like it's kind of deserty in the. Jeez, it's a little bit expensive for that house. I don't know why that house is priced that high. I wonder. That's weird. That's out of whack pricing on that house. The acreage. That's what I want. I'd want the acreage, the farm ranch area. That's what I like. You know what I'm saying? Get yourself a little acreage and you're in good shape.
Do what you want with it.
It's like those movies when the people are like, whatever happened to so-and-so? Although you don't have that as much anymore because you have social media and all that kind of stuff. But you know those movies where they're like, they look for some person that helped them and he lives on some ranch in Nowhereville, and he's just trying to stay out of everybody's scene. I think it's interesting. Anyway, I'd love to own all this land. I tell
you all the time. I look at my uncle up in Vermont with 300 acres, and it's crazy. It's just such a different world.
Yeah, I mean, 300 acres. Here's 177 acres for $199,000. Basically $1 an acre. Okay, $1 an acre.
Yeah, good luck.
There is grass on it. It doesn't look completely deserty.
Yeah, when were the pictures taken?
I don't know. Let me see where it is. I gotta see. I should share this with you so you can see it. It's fun. I don't know if you're into this kind of stuff like I am.
What, like searching for random areas of
I'm
whatever?
always looking at like ranches and land. Always.
Now, are you looking at it as far as like
I'd
dreaming
like to have a
or
spot.
what's
It's not a dream. I would say it's like a sub dream. I don't know if that makes sense. Meaning like
it's a backup plan?
no, I'd like to just have like a little not a little a dude ranch that I could go fly to and just chill out with like some
Doing your own thing?
cows and horses and like maybe hunt or something. And no one.
Can you hunt?
What's that?
Can you hunt, or you'd learn how to do it?
I'd learn how to do it. I mean, I kind of know what I'm doing already, but like I really have to learn. I don't go out, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I'd like to have that. It's a sub. That's why I say it's like a sub dream. It's not like
it's not something that has to go down. But that's not bad. Remember, you got to understand too. You don't ever need. All you need is you don't even need. You could just ride your quad everywhere.
You can ride your quad everywhere. Right. You ride your quad out. Just doing some like outdoor stuff. I'd rework the land. I'd go maybe if somebody said to me that there might be some oil in those areas, I'd put an oil rig down there.
I told you, you're Jed Clampett.
Oh, I can stop sharing this now. Oh man, like put a training facility out there for dirt cheap.
Yeah, but you got to. How far do people have to commute? Like 70 miles.
Why in the prospects for just the NFL, all the NFL prospects for like, and just give them their own environment. Oh, that'd be cool.
Like, here you go. You're in your own bubble.
Here you go. Here's your environment.
Market it right now. Be like, look, you're in the middle of nowhere. You don't have to worry about any of it.
No one will bother you.
Come out here, disconnect for a while, and then get it going.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun, but I mean, look, it's it's mind-boggling about like where we live. Like you see 177 acres. Okay, yes, it is away from town. You probably got to drive into town. You got to get stuff. I'm assuming Amazon still delivers there.
Might take it. I mean, listen, it's just different. It takes time. Like you have to have patience. Nothing's coming overnight.
Right.
It's like you're going old school Pony Express. Like you know what I mean?
Maybe you build a little airfield there.
I'm just telling. Yeah, I mean, you can fly
177 acres.
Right.
You build. This is just for Amazon to land their plane.
Be like, okay, I have my own strip, and come and go as you please, but just let me know if you're coming in late, or I'll turn the lights on.
I'll say, yeah, we have lights along.
You have electricity.
We have lights along the airstrip for you.
I'm sure you can grow a lot of things as well.
I think you'd have like cattle, but do you think I don't know if I'd be a good rancher. I don't. My gut is I probably wouldn't be a good rancher.
The one thing that I've learned about
I think you'd have to grow up doing that.
Farming and ranching based off of it's look, man. When the sun comes up, you better be out there working because you only have until the sun goes down, and then that day's over.
Right. I think you'd have to. I think
weather plays a very big role.
I think you got to be not born doing it, but you got to grow up doing it to have to understand what it takes. Because I think if you didn't grow up doing it, it's probably going to be hard to.
Yeah, because you're just not used to that lifestyle.
Yeah. Yep. You know what? Another sub dream of mine. I shouldn't say that. I don't know if it's a sub dream. I think it would almost be like a fantasy sports dream thing. Would be to train racehorses. That would be another fantasy.
I have no desire to be around animals whatsoever.
Animals in general, no, but like racehorses, I think are fun. But That's not really here or there either. That's not
Ever since those couple episodes of The Sopranos with Pio Mai, what they did to that poor horse, I can't. For the insurance money, I can't. It just hurts my heart.
What do they do? Eat it?
No, they took it out though for the insurance money.
Oh yeah, that happens a lot with horses.
Although one win can get you a couple bucks.
Well, if you have a great racehorse, yeah.
I think I'd much rather have a good race car than a race horse.
A good race car. You mean like, are you a car person?
No, but I just think NASCAR and that world is
Fun.
Yeah. But it is what it is.
Well, yeah. Well, one of the great retired. One of the great pit guys of all time in NASCAR played football at Stanford. Andy Papathanasiou, and he's from.
I'm pretty sure that Gibbs was a great football coach as well as a race car guy.
Right. Well, Andy Papathanasiou is from New Jersey. He was a star at Emerson High School, played at Stanford, and threw the shot put 65 feet, something like that.
Pretty good.
Something crazy like that. I think he held the state record. He might still hold the state record in a shot put. But he held it for a long time. And I think the only person better than him in the country at that time, I wonder if you would know this name. He was a pro, but you probably don't know it because you're too young. You ever heard of Michael Carter?
No.
He was a nose guard for the San Francisco 49ers. Probably, I wonder if he's a Hall of Famer. If he's not, he's probably borderline a Hall of Famer. But he played on their Super Bowls and stuff. And
interesting.
Michael Carter, this is crazy. I wonder if he still holds a national record. And his daughter, he coached his daughter in the shot put, and then she went on to break the net. I think she's an Olympian, to be honest. But I wonder if he still holds the record. Michael Carter set the American high school national record in the shot put. You ready for this? Guess how far he threw. So I'll give you just a frame of reference. Frame of reference is this: 50 feet, you're a very good high school shot putter. High 50s, you're elite. Mid to low 60s, no doubt slam dunk, probably top 2 or 3 in the country. And high 60s, you are possibly have potential to be an Olympian one day if you are someone that throws that in high school. Now in the pro quote unquote pro whatever Olympians, I think they throw like 72, 73, but it's 4 pounds heavier. The shot put for the Olympic guys. All right. So with that premise, how far do you think he threw the high school shot?
30.
30's horrible.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I just said 60s, high 60s is elite level. Eventually, maybe I'm
thinking female, maybe, right?
Female 30s is good. Yes.
Okay. So you said 60s elite?
Yes.
And you're asking what he threw in high school?
Yes. He holds the national high school record.
65?
He threw it 81 feet 3 inches in 19.
Did he hit anybody?
What's that?
Did he hit anybody?
When he broke the record?
Yeah.
And obviously,
did it end up like we were talking discus, like in somebody's backyard, like on game?
Well, when he broke the record, he threw it 9 feet farther than anyone had ever thrown it.
People were like,
What the fuck?
I mean, think about it. That's pretty much 9 feet is almost a basketball hoop. So go from there.
And guess where he played in college? You'll love this. You'll love it because it goes right into at 30 for 30. He was part of the one of those teams.
Miami?
SMU.
You're on an SMU trip.
He's a Texas guy, Michael Carter.
You've been on this Texas thing for a little while now. I just want you to know.
I love Texas. I have to deal with it all the time.
I'm just telling you. I'm making you. I'm just going to make you aware that it's
I love Texas. I love it. I love it. I love the state of Texas. It is hot. They're probably. I'm sure if I lived there all the time, deep in the summer, would probably be very difficult to handle.
But it's a different type of heat, man.
It is, but it's hot.
You're not talking Florida You're not talking Florida in August.
Yeah, but all right. So I'll put it to you like this: you'll have the rain, though. Totally quick story. I was coaching a camp in Dallas, Texas, actually Duncanville High School, which is now the best, right, team in town, or one of the best teams.
One of them.
At Duncanville High School, we were running camp there. And it was 120 degrees on the turf, 105 outside. We were running the camp, and it's one of those deals like we had to adjust kind of our schedule a little bit. So we went in the morning that we took a unusual a 2.5 hour break in the middle of the afternoon, and then came back in the late afternoon because it was just so hot. But anyway. Right around 11 o'clock, I'm getting ready to call it up. I call the kids in, and I hadn't drank any water at this point because sometimes sometimes I make a mistake of not doing that.
You dropped?
No, I didn't drop, but I go to call it up, and I felt
you got the head rush.
Like I was going to blank out. Like it was just, and I felt my body going down.
Kind of scary.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going down. Holy crap! Right. So I as I'm calling it up, I feel like body going down. As I'm going down, I just was able to kind of gather my wits about me for a tenth of a second, where I thought put your other foot in front of you. So I had I was leaning on the one leg going down. I put the other foot in front of me.
So you had a base,
and I kind of had a little base, and then I gathered myself, and then I drank. I went right over to where the water was and just drank for a while. But that was the only time in my life. And, obviously I've been through camp and those things are painful.
Incredible how fast your body does that.
It shut down.
But then as soon as you get that water, how fast it comes back.
I was back. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's weird because you're like, oh my God, I'm so out of it right now. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm back. Scary.
I didn't realize that Michael Carter played with, what's his face? Eric Dickerson and Craig James. He was called the immovable object. Could you imagine him at nose guard with that kind of explosion?
No.
I mean, he threw the shot 81 feet. Do you think anyone is moving him?
No.
That's 100% why he played in the pros, obviously.
Of course. Is obviously that low center of gravity, that explosion.
Because he wasn't, I don't think he was, he wasn't short. He's 6'2". 6'2", 285. Back then, that's light.
That's huge.
But that's light back then for a.
Oh yeah, for a nose guard.
That was light. Although for back then, I guess it wasn't. For now, I'm wrong. For now, it would be light. But back then, it was probably fairly big in the 80s. But his daughter was one of his daughters was a gold medalist in the Olympics. The other one was
coming from good pedigree, bro.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Anyway, he's the first man to win an Olympic medal. He was actually in the Olympics. He was second in the Olympics, and he won a Super Bowl ring the same year.
It's a hell of a year.
That's a great year. And he only played for 8. I guess he played 8-9 years. But nose guards.
Yeah, you don't last long.
I don't know how long they last in nose guard. 8-9 years. Drafted in the 5th round. Interesting. Anyway, on that note, let's see. Hold on. What else do we have? So tomorrow we're gonna do our picks. And then
we will see what the day of news brings us, because I'm sure it will.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys all next time.
Sounds good. All right, Coach. Have a good evening.
Cue the outro.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Football and the Kitchen Sink with Coach Schuman and Coach Depascale. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. If you like what you heard, leave us a review and be sure to tell a friend. We will meet you back here next time on Football and the Kitchen Sink.
I love it.
Thanks for listening
I'll hear
to
it a
this
second
episode
time.
of Football and the Kitchen Sink with Coach Schuman and Coach Depascale. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. If you like what you heard, leave us a review and be sure to tell a friend. We will meet you back here next time on Football and the Kitchen Sink.
All
Make sure
right,
you tell a
we're
friend.
out of here. All right, have a great day.